How are you doing today? Are you breathing? That's the first thing I want to ask. Are you breathing? Are you aware of your breath right now? I know that I can go hours and not notice how I'm breathing. And when I check in with myself, I suddenly realize I feel like I've been holding my breath for a very long time. So, can we just take a moment right now and observe our breath? So, you can close your eyes if you'd like to. I like to, it helps me to calm my system down and check in. And I noticed that was my cue to relax. So I just let out a nice exhale. I've done this exercise enough to know that the minute I turn inward, my body's like, oh, yeah, okay, what am I doing? Let's focus. So let's take a moment and just observe your breath. Observe how you're breathing. And then we're going to have a little invitation here to deepen the breath. So if we can just soften the inner throat muscles, right? They tend to get tense and tight. All the words that we hold back and we don't say to others, or all the things that we want to say, all the needs that we want to express that we hold in, tends to show up as tension in our throat. So we're just going to ask the throat to soften. And as you inhale, let the breath unobstructed hit the back of your throat. And notice how that shifts the breath deeper into the body. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling, letting go, softening. And let's bring a little structure to this breathing. We'll inhale for 4 counts and we'll exhale for 6 counts, okay? And if any time we start to cough or gasp and the 6 counts of exhale feels too long, just stop, shorten it, okay? It's too much for you. Well, it take a while to build up to that place. So let's just start. Exhale all your air. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, soft throat, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Just let your breath be. Just let it come and go as is. Notice if there was any shift in your body. Taking a moment to slow down our breath, to really expel all the air. It calms and soothes our nervous system down, right? It's like, okay, I'm here, I've arrived. The inhale is like, it just rushes back in, it fills you back up. Breath is our vitality, it's our life. So if we tend to go through our day with these shallow little breaths or holding our breath, we're not really living, right? We're just surviving. That's a cue that we're in survival mode of some sort. Um, and we've talked about that in earlier videos. And this video, I really want to talk about defense mechanisms. uh, these wonderful ways that we learn to adapt to our environment as children. um, that's when they were formed, right? When we come into this world, when we are very little, we are thrown into a family, into a living situation where maybe our needs are met or maybe they're not. Maybe mom and dad are preoccupied with other things. Maybe there's only one parent in the household. Who knows? Maybe there's strife in the household. There's a lot going on. And that little person learns to adapt to, like, how do I survive this? Like, how do I work with this to live, to exist? So these coping strategies come about. And as I'm saying this out loud, I probably should dive into our coping strategies, maladaptive coping strategies, the same as defense mechanisms. I haven't taken the time to really kind of piece that apart yet. So for this moment in time, I'm going to kind of lump them into the same basket. But I'm sure we could kind of pursue that trail further down the line. But thinking about defense mechanisms, for instance, maybe you lived in a household where there was a lot of criticism. So, there was competition between siblings and you were just used to being criticized like, oh, you can't dress right, or you're not very smart, you're not the smart one, you're not the athletic one, whatever. I'm just making up these little criticisms, but you might learn to bristle at those criticisms. So anytime you hear criticisms now, you instantly get tense and perhaps you snap back or you fight back. And that was your tendency as a kid to defend yourself, put yourself on the defensive. Um, Other defense mechanisms might be emotionally eating, right? Like, I don't want to feel this sadness that is rising up in me. And you're not going to consciously make these connections, right? Usually it's subconscious stuff because it was formed so early on. But you might just find yourself eating a lot of ice cream or something or cookies, and you're like, God, what am I doing? And you might have a slight connection as an adult of like, well, if it's been a bad day, I deserve this. But it's probably a defense mechanism, like I felt the sadness kind of rise up in my system, and I was like, hell no, I'm not going to feel that. Like, shove like sugar, fat, salt into my system, excite my system in a different way so I don't feel these feelings. So this is something that really important to understand. When we can learn to identify or just learn, map out our defense mechanisms, we can also understand it's like the trailhead, if you will, to the root of our problems, right? So the start of the path is, hey, I realized I got really defensive there. I realized the way I got defensive was I just shut down. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not talking about this. And so, okay, that's a defense mechanism I have. I have and that starts the path of, and we'll discuss that later in other videos because I'm keeping these videos really short. But that's just the path of like, okay, I do that. I do that when I'm mad, or I do that when I'm sad, or if I feel any sense of grief, I just need to overexercise. I go and pound it out, and I know my body's really tired and my joints all hurt, and I'm not really paying attention to that. I'm just kind of punishing myself or going for it. So jot down, learn to um, observe yourself, compassion and curiosity, right? We're not going to judge. It's just interesting facts about yourself. Like, what are your defense mechanisms? List them, figure them out. And then you'll start to notice, you might be really good at noticing your partner's defense mechanisms, right? Or your friends, right? Or family members. We're really good at that. Ours might be a little hidden, right? When we start to turn inward, it's like forest for the trees. Can't see it. And sometimes it's so embedded because we've had it for so long, it's so embedded in our personality that we claim it as our personality. That's just what I do. That's just who I am. I'm just an angry person, or I'm just I don't know, whatever, type A person. It's just how I am. Or maybe it's a defense mechanism, worth checking it out. Just start there, just identify it. And then this can help us because big picture is we see in this political atmosphere that we can't get away from that people are always trying to put the other person on the defensive, right? Always, 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 always trying to like attack, push back. It's a very conflicting, ineffective way to communicate with other people. So if we understand our defense mechanisms, like I said, that's the trailhead to the path to what is the root cause of this, so we can heal, right? And we can calm our system down. We know thyself. We can calm ourselves down. We're empowered. And then we can understand, like, oh, this person's operating on their defense mechanism right now. Like, they're showing a lot of anger, but I can tell or I sense that's probably fear. It's not really anger. The anger is a defense mechanism tied their pain or their fear of rejection. And I can see that now. And so we're less likely to go into that defense mode ourselves. So something Gabor would say, Dr. Gabor Mate, when I studied with him doing the compassionate inquiry approach, and he would always be like, if someone calls you your green bush, you'd be like, okay, something's off with this person. They're hallucinating or they're having delusions. They think I'm a green bush. You wouldn't even care. But if someone turned to you and said, you're selfish, you're too emotional, and you bristle, right? You react. What's the difference? Like, it's just a person's opinion. Why are you reacting? What's going on inside of you that is drawing this reaction? And so we'll dive into that further down the line. But right now, just checking in, taking a breath, inviting the breath into the body to calm our nervous system down, and then naming your defense mechanisms. Just name them, and we'll figure out how to explore them later. Okay? All right. Take care. Bye bye.